going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 8 of the Diego Colley Football Show. It is Monday morning, 22nd. I just got back from Pullman a few hours ago, got right on it, was looking at stats all during my flight, ready to record this episode. Had a great time at the Apple Cup. Going to talk about the game a little later, but should be a good show. Going to talk about everything that happened in week 3. Going to bounce around through some college football, talk about the Apple Cup. And, let's just get into it. First game of week 3. Dolphins at Bills. This was a game, I was surprised to see this from the Dolphins, honestly, but it ends in classic fashion. If you've watched the Dolphins all year, it's been Tua. Tua making the bad mistake, just backbreaking for his team. And this was a game that a lot of people expected them to just roll over. I mean, it's a primetime game in Buffalo. You're 10-point underdogs going in there, coming off 2 losses. And for a majority of the game, they looked decent. They were serviceable. They were getting the ball down the field. If you look at Tua's pass chart, he wasn't necessarily pushing the ball down the field. There's a lot of just throws 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage to A-Chain, but it wasn't the worst. They were scoring points. I mean, they ended with 21, and at the end of the game, if you look at it, they're driving down with a chance to tie the game. With 7 minutes to go, they start the drive, and they move the ball. They get into the red zone, and Tua throws the worst interception of, not of the whole week. There are some bad ones. We're going to talk some bad quarterback play all week. That was my story of the week. He throws it right to the Bills linebacker. And in the end of the game, he said, yeah, I like my decision making there. 9 times out of 10, I think I make that throw. I mean, there was no throw to be made, dude. Waddle ran a little curl, and the linebacker was standing right there, and there was a dude behind him. Like, I don't know what you see there. And then that's just the story of the game. Like, no one's going to be like, he Tua didn't play the best game of all time, but he was moving his team on the field. His team was gaining yards, he ended with the 81 QBR. Like, he wasn't awful, but then you do that, and then that's just what people are going to remember. And it's like, oh my God. And then the story comes out, the Dolphins are being patient with Mike McDaniel. Like, I don't necessarily know why. I mean, what is firing really going to do? I'm not sure. This is a bad roster, but I think you should trade Tyreek. I think you should try and get what you can for him, because he's not going to want to be here next season. You might as well. You're 0-3 now in the AFC East right now. Like, you're not gonna make the playoffs. You got the Jets next week in the game. That I think you could lose that game. You got 2 kind of decent. You got the Jets and Panthers, which is 2 games that you could probably win, maybe. But I think, if they don't win those 2 games, I think that's when he could go. If they do, but I think you should trade Tyreek Hill. I think you should trade Tyreek Hill to the Chiefs. I don't know what necessarily his value would be. It's kind of a weird thing, but they need a deep threat receiver. And you don't need an old, angry Tyreek Hill. Like, that's just kind of a locker room cancer at this point. So, yeah, the Dolphins lose. I was expecting them to get run out of the gym. They didn't. So, props to them for that, but it wasn't a great game to watch. Bills didn't necessarily dominate on the offensive end either. They were hanging with them, but, Allen didn't. 22 of 28 for 213 yards. It's not he lit it up. James Cook, 19 carries, 100 yards. He's going to be efficient. He's good. But yeah, a good one for the Bills. Dolphins are dead. Dolphins are bad. We'll go Seahawks Saints next. This is exactly what I wanted to see. If you listen to the last episode, I was talking about how I wanted to see a dominant game. I said I wanted to see a clean game. I didn't want to see any turnovers. And my God, did they do that? Talk about a dominating performance. Being a Seahawks fan, I don't know the last time I saw a performance to that level of just pure domination, to be honest. It was never even close. The Saints get the ball first. They go down quick. They stop them on 4th down. The Seahawks 6-play, 55-yard drive ends with Darnold rolling to his left, hitting JSN. Darnold also on that drive. On 2nd and 10, he gets pressured, steps up, escapes out to the left. He's showing some real promise, like escaping, making things happen with his legs, which is great to see. Just like, he looks comfortable too. He's not panicking. Like, that throw to JSN, it wasn't an easy throw. There's a guy, he's open, but there's a guy behind him. You got to put some good touch on that on the move, and it's a great throw. The only thing you can really nitpick on that from the offensive end is they didn't run the ball good enough. And Mike McDonald already said this morning they need to run the ball better. Like, quite frankly, he said the whole operation wasn't good on Sunday, which I agree with, but they were doing it through the air. Sam Darnold was 14 of 18 for 218 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had the best QBR in the entire NFL. The entire NFL. Like, he played a lights out game. He got it as a 92 on PFF. JSN was at 91. Torrey Horton I want to give a shout out to the Seahawks special teams because if nothing else, I mean, it's hard to pick someone who will pick out one person or one facet of the game that won them this game, but the special teams put it out of reach to me. They, I mean, you're up 7-0 and you're like, all right, you're putting the ball back. Let's you score, kick the ball back to the Saints. All right, let's get another stop. And Torrey Horton takes a punt 95 yards. We haven't had that kind of explosiveness in a return game. I mean, since Tyler Lockett, and even then, that was a 95-yard punt return. That doesn't just happen these days. Like, it was greatly blocked. Like, and the fact that there's no penalties coming around, those like things, that's a big thing because that shows discipline. Like, we're not making stupid holds, stupid block in the backs. Like, everyone was very aware. You could tell. And the next punt, you block a punt and get the ball, and that quite frankly should have been another special teams touchdown. The guy had a walk-in touchdown, he couldn't grab it. A funny clip, and then K9 runs it in. But just to be able to put your team in that position and make it like, this is a Saints team that had given two teams tough games. Like, it given the Niners and the Cardinals tough games to start the season. It came down to the end, and the Seahawks said, no, like, we're going to dominate this game today. I'm trying to think. I want to talk about the defense. This is a defense that was coming banged up secondary. And man, did they produce. Darion Kendrick, they got to find a way to get this guy on the field when Spoon comes back. This guy makes plays. He has 2 interceptions in 2 games and 2 plays that should have been picked. He should have 4 picks, quite honestly. You got to give it a shout out to Ty Okada. Ty Okada is a guy that's been a practice squad guy his whole career, and he comes in and plays a great game of safety, I thought. I mean, graded out as a 79 on PFF. Darion Kendrick graded out as a 90, the highest on the whole defense. Mike Morrison there at a 92, but I mean, he played 18 snaps. Those are all garbage time snaps, but I thought the defense was just flying around, and this shows that like this is what a dominant defense does. Like, it's not like, oh, like Spencer Rattler, a backup quarterback's going to come into Lewin Field and move the ball down the field with ease against the Seahawks team, or they're going to hand it to Alvin Kamara and he's still going to do Alvin Kamara things. Alvin Kamara ran the ball 18 times for 42 yards on Sunday. He was bottled up, absolutely bottled up. I want to give a shout out to Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe graded as a 48 on PFF, but if you watch it, he got called for some very nitpicky penalties that I thought were they were pretty very, very minimal contact that he got called for, and they were a majority towards the end of the game. I thought he played a great game. It'll be interesting to see the cornerback snap counts on Thursday's game against Arizona, especially if Spoon can go. But if he can't, I mean, you got to feel confident. But yeah, overall, just exactly what you'd want to see if you're a Seahawks fan from this game. You got a short week, so I think they precautionally held out everyone that was doubtful, and Charbonnet, Love, Eamon Witherspoon. I wasn't really expecting Eamon to play, but I was going into the week. McDonald sounded a little more optimistic that he thought Witherspoon was going to, and it didn't end up working out that way. And Love, especially, I mean, you got a really big division game coming up this Thursday that we'll talk about later in the week. But that game coming up is a must win. So going into this game where the Niners and the Cardinals just had a hard fought game where the Cardinals suffer some injuries. James Conner goes out for the year, and the Seahawks are in a situation where their starters play the first half. They come out relatively clean, it seems like. You like what you saw from a lot of your backups in those positions, and you rested your guys all of the second half. Like, you couldn't have asked for anything more. So I think just very promising. Trying to think of anything else I want to touch on. I was just really impressed with the backup secondary play. They had nothing. The Saints had nothing down the field. And we shut down Alvin Kamara, who, if they were going to be in this game, it was going to have to be an Alvin Kamara. He was going to have to carry them on their back. And he is a guy that's dominated the Seahawks for a majority of his career. Just before I leave this Seahawks game, I just got to give another shout out to Sam Darnold. This is the guy that catches a lot of heat. And dude, he's just a player, dude. He's just delivering. He just puts the ball in the right spot. It feels like almost every time. He's making the right decisions. He's smart about it. He's checking the ball down and letting his guys go make like big gains just by getting the ball to his guys. And JSN caught the ball 4 times. He came up on the injury report like 2 days before the game with an illness, and I was like, is this guy going to play? Ends up going for 96, 4 yards away from 100-yard games in 3 games in a row. So yeah, dominant win from the Seahawks, exactly what you want to see. Next game, I'd say probably one of the biggest surprises of the whole week was the Packers and Browns. The Browns take down the Packers on a last-second field goal. In what a stunner, 13-10. This was a game that I was like, I mean, I was like, I think the Packers are going to win this game in a landslide. I don't really see how the Browns can keep up with them on offense. And I mean, they didn't really. It was 13-10, but that defense is dominant. Something that I wasn't really like fully aware of. I can't lie. I knew they had players over there, but I didn't know this was the number one best defense in the league statistically so far. And that just tells me this is a Browns team that it's not going to be an easy win any week. I mean, that offense brutally struggled, put up 13 points. But if you have that defense, then they're not going to make it easy on any teams. On any teams. So I watched this game this morning when I was on the flight, and the Browns D-line was all over the Packers offensive line. All over the Packers offensive line. I was checking out the PFF grades. The Packers' 5 lowest graded players on offense were offensive linemen who had an under 45 grade. It was just horrible. Love was sacked 5 times. And the main thing is, and I think this gives a recipe, if you will, for kind of stopping the Packers, is stop that rush game. If you stop that running game and you don't let them gain few like bits of yards, 4-yard run, 3-yard run, third and short, get to a 4th and 1, get it with a run game, get yourself to a 2nd and 6, give yourself if you don't let them break you down like that, you can stop this offense. I mean, Love was 18-25 or 183 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. On the receiving end, they didn't give up much. Golden finally flashed a little bit, definitely the best game of his career, 4 receptions for 52 yards, but they didn't give up that huge big play touchdown that the Packers kind of not need, but that's what breaks teams down when you hit them with the run game and then you hit them with the play action over the top. On the Brown side, too, you got to be happy with what you saw from Quinshon Judkins. He showed that he can be your number one back right now. 18 carries, 94 yards, 1 touchdown. And Joe Flacco just manages his team to another victory. I mean, you got to love seeing him all fired up on the sidelines after that game-winning kick, taking down what had been arguably the best team in the entire NFL through 3 weeks. You got to like what you're seeing from Harold Fannin Jr., too. 2 rookies on offense showing up. This was just a real shock, because even if I didn't think the Packers' offense was so had the ability to just fully put up a blank like this. And you got to give a shout out to the Browns. You got to give a shout out to the Browns defense. And I think this is a good wake up call for the Packers. This defense is going to keep you in every game. This is a game you allowed 10 points until that last kick. You're not thinking you're going to lose this game and just absolutely shut down. And I do got to say, it was rightful. If the Packers won this game, I don't know if you were watching this game, you saw at the end when the Packers were going down, trying to run the clock out and kick a field goal. There was a play where Jacobs was running, he got stuffed, and he loses the ball. And the Browns had no timeouts at this point. He loses the ball, and it's a clear fumble, and it looks like the Browns guy recovers it. It goes to review, and I thought they completely screwed the Browns over, to be honest. Stefanski was pissed on the sideline because you'd think that, the game's over, they're going to kick it. They got screwed. They said the call stand, he didn't fumble, but rightfully so, and this was the first. I don't know if it was the first in succession to all the ones that happened around the league, but the blocked field goal train in the NFL on Sunday was absolutely wild. They blocked the kick, but Flacco moves them down the field, 5 plays, 21 seconds, 16 yards. That last time with no timeouts, when he delivered to Njoku for 8 yards to set up the 55-yarder, that was beautiful. That's veteran stuff. That's veteran stuff you're not going to get from a Gabriel or a Sanders right now. So really good for the Browns, man. Really, really good for the Browns. On the next game, Colts-Titans. Going to keep it quick here. But I think the Colts are good. They just continue to be proving me wrong. Going into this game, I was like, I could see this being a trap game, a rookie quarterback. He might have his moments here. And I mean, absolutely not. It started with the first play of the game. Ward drops back and throws just a horrible interception. I don't know what he's doing. His running back's waiting for a check down, and Kenny Moore's standing right there. And Cam Moore throws it right to him, pick 6. Not how you want to start the day. And I mean, that was kind of the story of it. Quite frankly, Daniel Jones continues to look good. And it's like every week that this goes on, I just think to myself, is this guy really good? Is he did Shane Steichen make him into a good quarterback again? Jonathan Taylor continues to succeed, 17 carries, 102 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Michael Pittman, big career resurgence for Michael Pittman. And yeah, I mean, on the Titans side, they did finally get some offensive production, I guess, from their receivers. I mean, a little bit. Alec Eyaminor continues to prove to be Cam Ward's favorite target from what it seems. I mean, 4 receptions on 5 targets. Chika Conquo checking in with 5 receptions for 66 yards. They put up 20 points, but this game was never close, which is something that Titans, their first 2 games, you have to say, they kept them close for a majority of the first half, and this one never really felt that way. It was a runaway win for the Colts, and a team that starts 3-0, no one expected. Next game, this was ugly. And this goes along with kind of the theme I thought of the day. It was pretty brutal quarterback play. Bengals Vikings, and on the Jake Browning side, if we're looking at these 2 teams going into the game, we knew it was Browning versus Wentz. Which one was going to be the ugly, throws the stupid interceptions? I probably would have said it was going to be Wentz, to be honest. And no, Jake Browning now leads the league in interceptions, I believe, with 5, and he's played 2 games, not 2 whole games. He came in obviously last week for Burrow, but this was bad, dude. And if you're a Bengals fan, you're like, you were 2-0, and you're like, okay, I think Browning can hold us off. And you're going in facing the backup quarterback. This is a winnable game, and it was just absolute domination from the beginning to the end. They're making sloppy plays, throwing interceptions. Noah Fant's fumbling. Like, when Noah Fant catches the ball 5 times for your team, what are you doing, dude? Like, they continue to not be able to get Chase Brown involved. I mean, Chase Brown had 10 carries for 3 yards. Like, that sounds like a fake stat line. 10 carries for 3 yards. P. Ryan was 4 carries for 21. Like, it was just absolutely there was nothing. Jamar caught the ball 5 times for 50. T. Higgins 1 for 15. It was really bad. And it's a backup quarterback. You can't come in and make stupid turnovers because that's just going to that just eliminates any chance you have. And this is a Bengals team. It's not like they have a dominant offense. They don't have a good offensive line. Their offense is Joe Burrow makes stuff happen, throw it to our receivers, survive in the pocket. You're not necessarily putting him in the best situation. It's still no run game. It's a tough situation for any backup quarterback. And I think they thought that Jake Browning was going to be a guy that they could be serviceable. But if this continues and these turnover woes continue, I mean, who knows? They may already be making calls to teams like the Giants, to teams like the Falcons, for Kirk Cousins, for Jameis Winston. I'd love to see Jameis Winston in that scenario. I think Jake Browning has it in him, but if he wants to continue this, he's got to stop turning the ball over. That just absolutely can't happen. This was a disaster. And on the Vikings end, Carson Wentz efficient. He didn't need to do much. He did not need to do much, and he didn't shoot his team in the foot. Jordan Mason ran the ball 16 times for 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wentz was 14 to 20 for 2 touchdowns, 173 yards. Like, he did his job. He did his job. Jefferson checked in 5 receptions for 75. Hawkinson, Naylor. But the story of the game was there. It's this defense, dude. Isaiah Rodgers graded out as a 99.9 on PFF. That fumble return for a touchdown was one of the best plays I've seen. The punch and then to grab it and run to the end zone, that was impressive. And this is the Vikings defense. The Vikings, they just need play on offense that doesn't kill them. And McCarthy killed them last week against the Falcons. Wentz does his job. The defense does their job. Brian Flores dials it up against a backup quarterback. He's going to give you a tough assignment every week. They're going to face Pittsburgh this week in London. He's going to make it tough on Rodgers. And this is a team that defense is dangerous, dude. You're going to be in a lot of games with that defense. You're going to be in a lot of games. Up next, another ugly football game. The Steelers and the Patriots. The Steelers win this game somehow. This is a game that the Steelers should not have won. The Patriots had every opportunity in the world to win this football game. They had 5 turnovers, 4 fumbles, 1 interception, 2 fumbles from Ramondre, 1 from Antonio Gibson, 1 from Drake May. Drake May throws a pick. 2 turnovers inside the Pittsburgh 5-yard line, and they score 14 points and you lose by 7. Like, that is horrible. They threw the ball for 110 more yards than Pittsburgh. They ran the ball for 70 more yards than Pittsburgh. Like, this, you just can't shoot yourself in the foot like that. And you don't want to, this is a Mike Vrabel team that is supposed to be hard-nosed, does the little things right. And they didn't. It's just the Ramondre fumbles are bad. You're a veteran, dude. You can't be fumbling on the 1-yard line. Hold on to the ball. And they do try to get Travion involved. I feel like every time we talk about a Patriots game, I'm like, get Travion Henderson the ball. which they should be. But then you see clips of him, he can't pass block. He doesn't really know what he's doing in the backfield when he's not getting handed the rock. And when he's getting handed the rock, 11 carries for 28 yards, like, he's not necessarily making the most things happen. So, I mean, I guess I see why he hasn't been on the field. But, I mean, you drafted the guy in the second round. He had a really good preseason. Like, I don't really know where that went. On the Steelers side, I mean, this isn't like the most inspiring Aaron Rodgers ever. They're 2-1, and it's a bit of an ugly. I mean, week 1 looked good, I will say, but these last 2 weeks have been brutal. They should be 1-2, quite frankly. They lost to the Seahawks, and this is a game that you absolutely should lose. Like, the fact that they come out with a win here is pretty insane to me. It's pretty wild. I mean, Rodgers threw for 140 yards, threw a pick, threw 2 touchdowns. Graded out really bad. He was 34.8 on PFF. Like, let's see what his passer rating was. I don't think it was very good. His passer rating was a 96, I guess. So, I mean, but he's just not making like plays down the field. I will give it to DK Metcalf. Had a great contested catch in the end zone. That was good to see. It's something you didn't see a lot if you watch Seahawks games the last few years, but there's no downfield threat. I mean, you didn't trade for DK Metcalf and sign him to that contract to give him 3 receptions for 32 yards against the Patriots defense that has been pretty bad throughout the season. Like, this was a game where the Steelers thought they're going to put up some points, and they really didn't. Jaylen Warren couldn't really get it going on the ground either. 18 for 47. He caught the ball 5 times for 35 yards too. But also going back to the Patriots, and Stephon Diggs just continues to be a no-show. I mean, 3 receptions, 23 yards. You want more from him. Hunter Henry, your leading receiver, 8 receptions for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns, and good for him. But I think this is the second week out of 3 that Ramondre has been in your top 2 in receiving yards too, which shouldn't happen. I just don't really understand the Patriots. Don't understand it. This is the game that you have to win. You have to win. 2 turnovers inside the 5 is just horrible. It's a good win for Pittsburgh to pull it out, but they got a tough task next week. Brian Flores is going to make it real tough on them in London for Minnesota. So good win for them, just really disappointing for the Patriots. Really disappointing loss. Next, the Rams and the Eagles. Talk about disappointing losses. This was the definition of that if you're the Rams. The Rams dominated this football game. They absolutely dominated this football game. And they come out of it with just a crushing loss. I believe they were up, was it 26-7 at some point? 26-7, yes. At the beginning of the third quarter. They go down and score. They're up 19 points. And the Eagles had nothing. The Eagles had like net 1 passing yard, I believe, in the whole first half. They had like 40 total yards. It was a disaster. Everyone's wanting to fire the offensive coordinator on Twitter. It was ugly. It was really ugly. And Jalen Hurts wasn't doing anything down the field. And in the second half, this was more of the Eagles that we've seen the last few years. They finally get A.J. Brown the ball for the first time really all season. 6 receptions for 109 yards. And it's like every time he caught the ball, it's like he was hungry. He needed that. He was running the guys over. He's pushing them to the ground. These were angry runs after the catch. Devontae Smith, 8 receptions for 60 yards. Like, that's the thing with Philly. I get that you guys have a dominant run game, but at some point, you should have a dominant pass game too. You can throw the ball to your receivers, dude. Like, just because you have the best run game in the league doesn't mean you can't throw it. I mean, Barkley is mostly bottled up in this game, 18 carries for 46 yards, and they had to throw it in the second half. And look what happened. You have the dudes to do it. Like, you absolutely have the dudes to do it. But it's kind of a collapse on the Rams end. If you're a Rams fan, this is just a brutal loss. You looking to go 3-0, and you would have had the tie-breaking win over the arguable number 1 seed in the NFC. I mean, I know this is big picture. We're looking at the playoffs here, but this is one that could come back to bite you toward the end of the season if we're coming to playoff time. But yeah, that's it. That's it for that game. It's just a game the Rams shouldn't have lost. I mean, they looked like the better team the whole game, I'd say. Quite honestly, they did. Puka goes crazy again. Devontae Adams has that long touchdown. I mean, Puka has 11 receptions for 120 yards. He hasn't scored yet this season, but him and JSN are the 2 receiving leaders in the whole league. Just a brutal game to lose, quite frankly. On next, another crazy game. The Jets and the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers survive after a game that looks like it was going to be a walk in the park for the Bucs, and somehow they end up needing another Baker Mayfield game-winning drive to save them at the end of it. I said it last week, but I just love Baker Mayfield, man. This guy just fights. And on the Buccaneers side, it feels like everyone is out. They got like 5 linemen getting injured. Mike Evans ends up going out in the middle of the game. And it's just next man up, dude. They just answer the bell every time. Every time. You got to give a shout out to Bucky Irving. You got to give a shout out to Emeka Egbuka. I mean, was forced into a spot. He's drafted, if you're looking at it from the draft perspective, he's drafted to a team that's got Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan, who played good at the end of last season, Chris Godwin. They knew it wasn't going to be ready right away. And McMillan gets hurt in the preseason, so it's kind of just him and Evans, and he's had three touchdowns in the first 2 games. In this game, Evans goes out, and when they need to throw, they got to throw the rookie, and he looks like a veteran out there. He looks like a veteran. He goes 6 receptions for 85 yards. He's just killing. Baker, clutch again. But on the Bucks, I mean, this Bucks team is the most banged up in the league. It feels like every time it's someone else is getting hurt, and they just keep finding a way. But you got to give it a shot to the Jets. This is another Jets loss, just like Week 1. But this one, honestly, this feels like an Aaron Glenn team. This defense just keeps fighting, and that's what you want if you're Jets. That's what the change of culture is about. Guys that are going to play hard, and they're in the game for majority of the first half. It's 6-13 going into what should be the last drive, and Tyrod throws a pick 6. So you're like, what are we doing? Like, okay, and the Bucks go down and get a field goal. They get stopped on downs. It's 23-6, and like, this game's over. This game's over. And these guys just fight. They just fight. Tyrod throws a touchdown to Garrett Wilson. Good to see him catching the ball. If you're a Jets fan, you want to see your guys get the rock. And then towards the end of the game, it's like, oh, they're gonna get a stop. They're gonna get the ball back. Like, potentially, like, you got to get one stop and you get the ball. So the Bucks score a field goal, whatever. You go down and score 7, 26-20. And it's like Bucks are moving. Like, all right, shit. Like, they're gonna kick it. And it's gonna be in. Baker has a huge scramble for 33 yards to get him in the opponent territory. And the play of the day, in my opinion, Will McDonald from a 4-point stance position jumps to block the field goal. When I saw it, I was like, oh, he must have ran up. They showed the replay. This dude's in a 4-point stance in front of the guard, just leaps over. Ball bounces perfectly to him, right back, returns it. And it's like, oh my God, are the Bucks going to lose this game? And then he answers the bell again. Baker Mayfield, 1:49 to go, delivers to Emeka down the sideline. Then the next play, it should have been called a catch to Emeka. It wasn't. He made a fantastic catch. It was broken up, and he somehow grabbed it, got his feet down. They didn't even review it. But he gets his team to a position he gets 36-yarder, and it's good for a game. And for the Bucks, especially right now, if they can win these games early in the season, especially with how banged up they are, then this is when they can afford to, towards the end of the year, or even in this middle part of the year, they need to stack wins while they're at least somewhat healthy. And now, these guys are going to be out for an extended period of time, maybe for some of them. We don't know if Mike Evans is going to play this week. We don't know the status of a lot of these guys yet. You need to win these games now so you can afford have some leeway with the healthier team. They got the Eagles next week. They seem to always play the Eagles well, it feels like. So who knows who's going to play? Who knows if Evans is going to play? Who knows who's going to be starting on the O-line? A lot of penalties in this game too. But it just feels like if Baker Mayfield's your quarterback, you're going to have a chance in every game. And that's all, quite honestly, all you can ask for. They got to clean it up though. 14 penalties, 124 yards, 0 turnovers, but you can't have that many penalties. Just can't happen. Just can't happen at all. But a great win for the Bucks. I just love watching Baker Mayfield, man. One of my most fun watch. I'd say early MVP candidate, Baker Mayfield, in my opinion. Next team, Raiders and Commanders. Got to be honest, I don't know how much of this game was watched. I was keeping track of it. What was going on? Geno ends up looking a little better. I guess. I mean, he puts up the stats, but the Raiders aren't looking for moral victories. They brought in these older guys because they want to compete and see what's going on. And it was never really a game. You get ran over by Marcus Mariota, who you got to give a shout out to this guy. This guy thought he was at Oregon. There's some clips of him weaving through the defense, thinking he's winning the Heisman Trophy. He gets ends up fumbling, but he was out there playing. He was playing ball, dude. 15-21, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, ran the ball 6 times for 40 yards. And their run game was really impressive. That's the thing. This Pete Carroll defense just got pushed over, dude. Jeremy McNichols, 4 carries for 78 yards. Mariota ran for 40. Chris Rodriguez ran for 11 times for 39 yards. I don't really know what they're doing with Bill. Bill was 8 carries for 26 yards. You thought that this was the first week without Eckler, so he was going to get a bulk of the carries, and they give him 8 carries again. He got like 10 the week before, 10 the week before. He had less, I believe. So that was weird. It was good to see Terry McLaurin show up. 3 receptions for 74 yards. Luke McCaffrey, 3 for 56. Zach Ertz, 3 for 38. And on the Raiders side, I mean, Trey Tucker, 8 receptions for 145 yards. When he's catching deep balls, he had a great game, but this defense just got pushed around, and that's not that's horrible. That's horrible from Vegas. Absolutely awful. This team was never in this game. Ashton Genty has another mid-game, 17 carries for 63 yards, and it's like every week this goes on. It's like, is this guy going to break one? Is he going to give me a highlight? Doesn't get in the end zone again, along of 18 yards. It's just hard. They're a hard team to watch right now, dude. They are a hard team to watch in all facets of the game, quite honestly. No one on the Vegas defense really plays great. Jamal Adams has a weak grade, only played 15 snaps. Jermaine Pratt, the linebacker that came over from Cincinnati, played a really bad game, graded out of 33. You got to give a shout out to the Washington D line, honestly, I think, especially in the run game, to bottle up Ashton Genty. I mean, we know the state that Bears offensive line is at, but you stop the run, and I don't think the Raiders are going to. If you drop Geno back every play and make him have to push the ball down the field, I don't think they're going to have much success. I mean, he throws for 3 touchdowns, has a better game in the scheme of things, but it doesn't really matter. That's one of the Trey Tucker ones was a little more garbage time. I mean, he graded out well. Geno did. He graded out an 84, but just not. It's not inspiring. It's not an inspiring team to watch. Geno was sacked 5 times, pressured 19 times. So you got to give a shout out to the D-line for that. Von Miller getting in there. But it's just a rough spot to be in for the Raiders. They win week 1, and they've had 2 very, very uninspiring performances coming in the last 2 weeks. Deron Payne had 7 total QB pressures. Bobby Wagner had 5. Bobby Wagner coming in with 2 sacks, turning back the clock. Von Miller with 3. It's a great showing for the Commanders' defense, in my opinion. Next, this was my big disappointment of the week, I got to say. The Falcons and the Panthers. And all I can say is this was an absolute disaster. An absolute disaster from beginning to end for Atlanta. Atlanta's a team I've been pretty high on. They come off a gritty win against the Vikings on Sunday Night Football, where it's like, all right, defense played really good. Let's see. Hope the offense can kind of get these big plays going again. Push the ball down the field. And this was the opposite of that. And I got to start with hating on my guy. Michael Penix played definitely his worst game as a pro. He was missing open guys. Like, there was 2 picks. They were bad interceptions too. They were really, really bad interceptions. Just missing a guy on an out route inside. It was really ugly, dude. And it starts with him. It starts from the top, but I don't think all the issues don't come from it. It was just kind of a whole situational thing. I mean, they started the game, they moved the ball down the field a little bit, and your kicker who made 5 kicks last week misses a kick. And it's like, okay, the Panthers go down and score, and then they punt. The Panthers muff the punt, so you get the ball back. You're like, okay, go score. 3 and out. Kick a field goal. Miss the kick again. And they're losing yards on plays early and down, setting themselves up for like 3rd and longs. Penix graded out horribly at the 27. It was weird from him because they pressured him a little bit. Let me see if I can pull up his pressure rating. But it's not like there was guys in his face the whole time. I mean, I guess I was, from what I saw, I guess they didn't. I mean, they pressured him 9 times. He got sacked 0 times. There wasn't really guys in his grill. Like, there was times there was some people in front of him, but he was able to step in throws he was just missing. I think he'll turn it around. I mean, they're not going to bench the kid, but you want to see a lot more. It was pretty awful. They could not really establish the run game either. Bijan, he ran the ball 13 times for 72 yards, but when you're down that much, you can't really sit there and keep running it like I know they want to. They want to be able to rely on that, and they really couldn't. Mooney was targeted 11 times, 4 catches. Drake London was targeted 8 times, 5 catches for 55 yards. They didn't get in the end zone. The fact they didn't get in the end zone once is just atrocious. I was just overall pretty shocked by what I saw. I thought there was something they started off slow, and it's like, okay, they'll get going. He's going to get the ball to his guys. And he played probably the worst game I've ever seen him play. So that was pretty bad. Kyle Pitts caught the ball 4 times. Just an all-around disaster performance. And this is one, like, because I don't even think one of the picks was a bit of a bad decision, but he was just missing open guys. So this is when I think, toss the tape. You're going to be fine. Like, just flush that. This is not something you need to be thinking about. He has a great arm. He makes great throws. This is not something like where it's like he's seeing ghosts out there, because I don't really think he was. It was just really uncharacteristic, bad quarterback game from him. But good for the Panthers. You got to say good for the Panthers, especially after last week's situational failure towards the end of the game against Arizona. This is a good win for him. Bryce Young just kind of does what he has to do. 16 for 24, 121 yards. But they were defense was putting them in favorable positions. You got to give a shout out to that Panthers defense. Chuba Hubbard ran the ball well, 17 for 73. I think, yeah, you got to give a big shout out to the defense. The Falcons kind of shot themselves in the foot most of the game, but good win for the Panthers. Good for them to get on track, get Bryce Young a win, boost his confidence up early in the season. It's a really good thing for a young quarterback and for them in the position that they are in. On to the next game, another absolute disaster. These two games back to back I'm talking about here, the two just puzzling. And this is the Texans at the Jaguars. The Texans are just one of the hardest watches in all of football, quite honestly. CJ Stroud goes 25 of 38, 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And these guys just can't do anything right. Nico Collins fumbles in the biggest spot of the game when they're finally going down to potentially take the lead at the end. And this offense is just so bad. It is so bad. It's like you're watching a college offense out there trying to compete. But guys, they have great guys in the skill positions. And they can't get it on. CJ Stroud does not look like anything near himself since his rookie season, which is weird. It wasn't just a sophomore slump. It's looking like a junior year slump as well. Check out some of these grades because I know they weren't good. But, I mean, if you're looking at this game, the Jaguars go up 7-0. Texans get 3 before half. Just a lot of punts back and forth. It's not like the Jaguars offense shot the lights out. They weren't dominating this game. Like, this was a game where the Texans defense was all over these guys. You're down 10-3. The Texans finally tie it up in the fourth quarter, 10-10. You force a turnover on downs for Jacksonville, and you get the ball back. And you're like, all right, let's go score. Let's do this. Stroud throws it to Nico Collins. He gets it all the way down to the red zone, and he's just winging the ball around. It gets punched out, and you lose the ball. That ends up being the Jaguars' game-winning touchdown drive. And Stroud gets the ball back with 2 minutes, no timeouts, and his right tackle kind of collapses on him, but he doesn't feel it, and he's trying to push it deep down the field. So it could have been a touchdown on Nico Collins. He was covered, but the throw was there. His arm gets hit, interception, game over. And that's just the story of it, dude. The defense is going to give you the chances, but when you turn the ball over in spots like that, 3 turnovers, just horrible. The Texans defense plays outstanding again. Jalen Petrie grades out an 87. Will Henderson in 89 had 6 pressures on his own. 18 pressures as a team, 3 sacks, but Will Anderson had 6. Like, that's a game-breaking player, and they're 0-3. It's just horrible. It's horrible. Josh Hines Allen on the other end had 6 pressures on his own as well. Trevon Walker had 6. The 2 edges getting after CJ Stroud, had 20 pressures, 3 sacks on him. One thing I do want to talk about is Travis Hunter. Like, what are they doing? He's playing like 40% of snaps in the whole game, but like not even 50% on each side of the ball. Like, I think you got to make him a centerpiece of one of the sides of the football, and then you can incorporate on the other. Him playing like 20% of the snaps or 40% of the snaps on offense, if you don't throw into him, it's not going to do anything. It's just like you drafted this guy 2nd overall. You traded up for this guy. Use him. You give him the football. He got the ball 1 time for 21 yards. Or if you want him to be a DB and you want him to be a lockdown DB, then let him play defense and then put him in special packages on offense where you utilize him and give him the football. I don't think he needs to play every snap on offense. I quite frankly don't. I think a lockdown corner in which is what I think he is better than. I feel like he's always been a better corner. He's been a great athlete, but I think he's always been a better corner. And I think having that ability and put him in packages on offense. Put him in when you're trying to go 2 minute. Put him in at receiver for a drive and run the ball, push it down the field to him. And they just haven't done any of that. On defense, he played 43 snaps, graded out as a 61. Didn't really make quite any plays, to be honest. And on offense, where's it at? Sorry. On offense, he plays 37 snaps, grades out of 62, catches the ball 1 time. So it just doesn't really make sense. He goes targeted twice. Give him the ball in a short game. Like, just give your number 2 overall pick the ball. You're using him like he's a number 3 over receiver and a nickel cornerback. It doesn't make any sense to me. Brian Thomas had another weird game. I mean, he caught the ball 2 times for 55 yards, had a big catch down the field, but targeted 6 times, a few times over the middle where that'd be one of the times in the end zone. He drew a flag, but he's just not going up for the ball. He's it's a really weird situation. It's a Jaguars team that is 2-1 now, but it hasn't looked very good. These last 2 weeks have been brutal. They lose last week to the Bengals, and they win this game somehow against the Texans. And you got to give a shout out to the defense. And the Texans, I don't know if I want to call them dead yet, but this is bad. You play the Titans this week, which it would have to be a must win. You face the Titans, Ravens, and Seahawks. So, and then you face the Niners. So if you're going to get a win, you got to get it now, and you got to hope you turn some kind of a corner. But I mean, just looking at it, like you can't fix poor offensive line play. You're not going to bring in a whole new offensive line mid-season. That's just not how it works. I just don't know what their plan is there. And I think it's honestly a bit of a failure in a roster building sense. You knew that going into the offseason that this was a poor offensive line. Everyone knew it. It was the reason you guys had struggled last year. And they didn't really attack it at all. They didn't. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. You draft 2 receivers. You do draft an offensive tackle, but sign someone, bring in some veteran. Rookie offensive linemen are kind of especially if they're not a first down lineman, they're kind of just a crapshoot. It's like, this is the guy that's going to need to develop a little bit. And they bring in Laken Tomlinson from the Seahawks. It's just a poor situation all around. I couldn't even imagine being a Texans fan. It's awful. On the next game, we'll get in the afternoon slate. I got to rant again. I feel like I'm just talking about bad things going around all around. But the Broncos and the Chargers, Bo Nix, after all the poor quarterbacks that we have talked about, or the poor quarterback play, I think Bo Nix was the worst quarterback I watched all week, quite frankly. Oh my gosh. This is a game that they should win. This was a game of 2 quarterbacks because I thought Justin Herbert was fantastic. I think Justin Herbert, I'm going to take back what I said earlier. I wasn't thinking about him. I think him and Baker Mayfield should be the 2 MVP candidates right now. Absolutely. And you got to, he's outstanding, dude. If you didn't see that touchdown pass that he threw late in the game to Keenan Allen, that was amazing. It was absolutely, he steps up, he throws it sidearm. If someone's in his grill, delivers a touchdown that would go on to tie the game, I believe, and then they make the field goal at the end of it. And Justin Herbert was pressured the most out of any quarterback in the entire league last week, out of anyone. And he puts that up, pressured 29 times, sacked 5 times. They are getting after him. And he just keeps getting up. I was astounded. I got to say, I panned up. I picked against the Chargers every week. I thought they were going to lose every week, and they keep proving me wrong. I think this week I can't keep that trend going. Unfortunately, Najee goes down. Looks like an Achilles, probably season ending. Unfortunate for him, but you got to like what you see from the rookie. Finally, Amarion Hampton making some plays, getting involved. 6 receptions, 59 yards, 19 carries, 70 yards, gets in the end zone. That's what they need. Najee was kind of that steady back in the backfield, and Amarion steps up. When he goes down, they need you. Rookie, they need you. Herbert is 28 for 47, 300 yards, just slinging it. Quentin Johnson might be good, might not be a fluke. 6 receptions, 89 yards. Keenan Allen, 7 for 65. It's funny because Keenan Allen was not going to be on the Chargers this year. And then Mike Williams retires, and they're like, all right, we'll take the other old receiver that's a free agent. And Keenan Allen's been, Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen have been their 2 best receivers. They've been better than Ladd McConkey, like by far. I mean, they were both targeted 10 and 11 times, respectively. That's insane. This team was just chucking it. And it was the Broncos defense, which I thought was finally showing, like, oh, this is one of the best defenses in the league, like we've kind of been seeing. Everyone was expecting, and they were dialing it up on him. You gotta give him that. Jonathan Cooper had 10 total pressures on his own, and Herbert just kept answering the bell. He kept answering the bell, and you know who didn't? Bo Nix. Bo Nix. I genuinely hate watching this guy play quarterback. He is awful, dude. He's horrible. They win this game if he hits one of his deep shots. And there was multiple. If you watch this game, there was multiple plays towards the end where he's got a guy wide open, and He just misses him on the last drive. They had a chance to seal this game. The Chargers score after that to pass to Keenan Allen in the end zone, make it 20-20 with 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. 3rd and 10. They don't get anything on the first two plays. And he drops back. He has time, and he just wings it up in the air to Cortland Sutton, who runs a beautiful double move out and up. And he just misses him by 5 yards. It's like, dude, you complete that pass, you're winning, you're kicking it, and you're winning the football game. And he misses it. And he does that constantly, time and time again. It's just hard. It's really, really hard to watch. I could not imagine watching that guy be my quarterback. It's so puzzling. 14-25, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, sacked twice. They ran the ball well today. J.K. Dobbins was 11 carries for 83 yards. They finally got Cortland Sutton involved. I was talking about it. They needed Cortland Sutton to step up, but no one behind him. Sutton had 6 receptions for 118 yards and 1 touchdown. And Troy Franklin, who went off last week, 2 receptions for 8 yards. Their next leading receiver is running back R.J. Harvey, who had 3 receptions for 14 yards. And after that, it's Lucas Kroll, 1 reception, Troy Franklin, 2, Marvin Mims, 1, J.K. Dobbins, 1. Just nothing in the pass game. And that could have been so much more if Bo Nix just completes big plays down the field like he's supposed to do. That's all I got to say about that game. I'm just so impressed and surprised by the Chargers, I got to say. Justin Herbert's playing an MVP level, and those guys around him on offense are really stepping up. Next we go Cowboys-Bears, and I said this was a game where if the Bears lost, I was never going to pick them again, and they didn't. This is the Bears team that I've been expecting to see all season, quite frankly. And it was great to see. We knew this was a beat-up, kind of probably bad Cowboys defense, and they exposed that, but they looked good while doing it. It wasn't like, this is the best game Caleb Williams has played in his whole career. And you got to give it to Caleb Williams. He is tied for first in the NFL in passing touchdowns. And he actually hasn't looked, obviously week 1, he played bad towards the end of the game. But last week, the Lions kind of blow him out of the water. And I think a lot of Caleb's good doing that he did last week kind of got looked over because of the final score of the game and kind of what was happening. They didn't run the ball very well today. It was all through the air. Rome Odunze established himself as, I think he's their number 1 receiver. 3 receptions for 62 yards, 1 touchdown. He smokes Trevon Diggs off the line on him. He's running a little hole shot. And Trevon Diggs falls, smokes it for a touchdown. Luther Burden, we got to talk about that flea flicker. That's the Caleb Williams arm talent. Caleb Williams, I think, has one of the best arm talents in the league currently. When you see him throw it, and that was on a line, and that's kind of how he throws all of his passes. But when it's on the money, man, it looks pretty. That play kind of scares you a little if you're watching, because DeAndre Swift, it wasn't like a direct pitch to him. He loops the pitch up in the air. Could have been disastrous. Caleb catches it, just rips into it. Probably about 65, 70 yards in the air. To Luther Burden, the rookie, 3 receptions, 101 yards for a touchdown. Colston Loveland finally gets involved, 1 for 31. DeAndre Swift through the air, 3 receptions for 45 yards. DJ Moore getting in the end zone. Just seems like this isn't, the Ben Johnson system is more suited for a guy like Rome, a bigger receiver. I don't know. I like DJ Moore, but it just seems like he's not the number 1 receiver, and he doesn't need to be. They have the guys. Rome can do that, and Rome should do that, I think. Him and Caleb need to continue to grow that connection. But a great win for the Bears. And on the Dallas side, disaster. Disaster struck in Dallas. Just ugly. Dak was 31 of 40, put up 14 points against the Bears defense that kind of the last 2 weeks, they gave up 27 to the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy and 52 to the Lions. And the Cowboys come in, the Cowboys put up points last week. You got to give it to them. And they give you nothing. They give you 14 points. They get CeeDee Lamb hurt on a stupid little handoff play, an unimportant play. He hurts his ankle. He tries to go back and he can't. You got to hope he's going to be okay and be able to play in the long term, because this offense has already looked pretty brutal. And if you take CD out and you got George Pickens throwing tantrums on the sideline, throwing his helmet, I don't know where that's going to give you. Jake Ferguson had a good game, but you're throwing Jake Ferguson the ball 14 times. Like, you got to find a way to get Pickens the ball. I get he's a head case, but especially when CD goes out, you got to give him the ball, dude. You got to give a shout out to, I believe it was Tyreek Stevenson, had a fantastic strip of Javonte Williams. Going on the left sideline, you think Williams is about to run out of bounds just early in the game. Just rips it from him. Gets his feet in bounds, stays in. And that turned the tide. I believe that led to the Bears' first scoring drive. Yeah, good win for the Bears. And they're in a spot where they can make some stuff happen here. Honestly, this was a team that I didn't call dead, but I was like, you got to see something soon. You got the Raiders next week who look very beatable. You got at the Commanders who they haven't looked like the NFC Championship team quite yet that they were last year. Then you got versus the Saints. If you can string a few wins together, you're in a decent spot. You definitely are. But this is exactly what you want to see. You want to see your number one overall pick looking like a number one overall pick, and I think Caleb did today. You got to give it to him. Caleb Williams played a great game. So good win for the Bears. That Ben Johnson video in the locker room was got to get you fired up. You love to see him. You love to see your coach getting fired up like that, showing emotion. It seemed like the guys love him. So yeah, that great win for the Bears. Up next we have the Cardinals and the Niners. Talk about an ugly football game. This was just bad. Mac Jones versus Kyler Murray. Marvin Harrison Jr. looking like a bust. Like, this game was horrible. It was like 3-3 for a majority of the game. Then it was 6-6. Just awful football. Awful football. I got to give a shout out to the Cardinals defense. The Cardinals defense was fighting. They were absolutely fighting. They were doing everything they can to stop Mac Jones, stop Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is getting run into the ground. 17 carries for 50 yards. He catches the ball 10 times for 88 yards. Targeted 15 times. Like, that just isn't sustainable. And I just got news as I'm recording this a few minutes ago. Nick Bosa out for the year with a torn ACL. After Shanahan said after the game, doesn't think it's an ACL. You don't want to see that. That's awful. Ricky Pearsall looks good. I will say 8 receptions, 117 yards. Had a huge play on a fourth down. I believe it was 4th and 5. Mac Jones trusts him going deep. Great throw. Makes the catch in traffic. And a receiver on the other end, Marvin Harrison Jr. Is he bad? I don't think most of us have probably seen the clip. If you haven't, just look up his name on Twitter. He's like the most wide open you're ever going to be as an NFL receiver, and he looks like he's never caught a football before in his life. The ball's coming at him. He's like trying to track it. He like doesn't know what to do with his hands. It bounces off his chest and drops down. It's another play in the end zone. Like, he has to jump for the catch, but there's no one hitting him. He like doesn't. It goes through his hands. He pins it on his shoulder. He falls. It hits the ground. It's like, dude, this guy was supposed to be like a generational prospect at receiver, and he's looked like he's never touched a football in his life. He has no confidence. He's not someone that anyone is fearing going in the game. It's not even like, oh, we got to guard Marv. Like, he's not doing anything to even think any of that. I got to give respect to the 49ers. So that defense was fighting. That defense was absolutely fighting out there. I got to give a shout out to Fred Warner. Fred Warner, as a guy that doesn't like the 49ers, you got to respect Fred Warner. He's one of the most fun to watch guys in the league when he's not playing your team. He's just so good time and time again, and they need him to be. It's going to be damn near the only guy that's healthy on this team right now. Them losing Bosa is going to be a big hit. They're going to need rookies like Michael Williams, CJ West to step up. You're going to need Bryce Huff to step up. He played a great game. 5 pressures in the game on Sunday. Cardinals lose James Conner for the year, which is just a backbreaker. That's a guy that heart and soul guy of the team. Like, he's been able to stay healthy the last few years, and that it was an ugly looking injury. But I think Trey Benson has promise. Hard runner, kind of the same type of back as James Conner, but losing a guy like that in the locker room is a bigger presence than on the field. Just an ugly game. The Niners are 3-0. They make it to 3-0. Props to them. But a brutal game to watch. They got the Jags next week. That'll be another. It could go either way, I feel like. Depends on what Trevor Lawrence we get, what Brian Thomas we get. If Mac Jones is still playing, or is it going to be Purdy? I think it might be Purdy because Purdy was a game time decision. So you think with another week, he should be ready to go. But should be interesting. Should be very interesting. The Cardinals got the Seahawks on Thursday night. A game that's really big for both teams, quite frankly. This will put either the Seahawks to 0-2 in the division, which would be a huge hit to any chances they have of winning the division right now. And the Cardinals would move them to 0-2 in the division as well. So two teams who I think they both do have aspirations to win the division. And the Seahawks do. Big game for both. Definitely a big game for both. And the Cardinals are going in banged up. Much more banged up than the Seahawks team, who rested its starters most of the second half. And the Cardinals, who win a back-and-forth defensive battle against the Niners here. That's it for the late slate. We'll go to the Sunday night game real quick. The Chiefs win. Chiefs win their first game of the season. It wasn't pretty. But I got to talk about the Giants and Russell Wilson, dude. This is just... They gave it to you last week. It's like, oh, Russ is throwing the ball deep. He's getting the ball to his guys. Like, he can be okay. He can be okay. And then you do that in your home opener. I believe it was their home opener. Yeah, in their home opener versus the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Dable said this morning they're evaluating every option at quarterback. And I think you might as well. If this is the offense you're going to play, just put the rookie in, dude. that red zone sequence, if you were watching this game and you turned the game off at the end, I wouldn't have been mad at you at all. The red zone sequence at the end of the game, you're down like 13, I think it was, and I don't know how much time was left. It was probably around 5 minutes, but you move the ball down the field, you get a flag, and you end up being first and goal at the 4. And Russ throws the ball out of the end zone like 3 times on 3rd and 4th down. It was like, what? He took an intentional grounding penalty on 1st and goal. I don't even know how that's possible. They ran like a 3-yard, they ran 4 guys on curl routes in the middle of the field. And he doesn't see anything right away, so he just chucks it 20 yards in the stands. And it's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, throw it to your guys. And then 2 plays later on 4th and goal, he's moving around. There's nothing. He throws it out of the back of the end zone. It doesn't matter if you throw a pick, bro. Like, this is the Russ I saw in week 1 when I said that if this is what's happening, I don't know how I'm ever going to be encouraged to watch a Giants game. And then he goes out and does what he does in week 2. But if you're a sensible defensive coordinator, like I guess Matt Eberflus isn't, because Matt Eberflus just was bringing his guys up and letting Malik Neighbors and Wando Robinson run right by him. You got to give it to Steve Spagnuolo. He had him in a box. He was just dropping 2 safeties back, which is the exact defense that killed the Seahawks in the let Russ cook days. When he doesn't have his deep ball available every time, there's nothing for him. Malik Neighbors has 2 catches for 13 yards on 7 targets. He got him hurt, came back into the game. At least you got to be happy about Cam Scatabo, I guess. Like, Scatabo's looked good. That touchdown run he had was really fun. But it's just awful. Like, just play Dart, dude. At this point, just play him. Because what you're seeing right now is just the most uninspiring thing ever. The only way Dable saves his job, I think, is if you play Dart and Dart looks good and you get a little something going with it. Let the 2 rookies be in the backfield. On the Chiefs side, Tyquan Thornton, career resurgence. If he can be a guy that can threaten the ball downfield, that contested catch he had in the second half was outstanding. And from a bigger picture, man, if you get Xavier Worthy back, Rashee Rice back when he comes back from a suspension, and you have a guy like Tyquan Thornton as your 3rd receiver, now that could be a dangerous Chiefs offense. It absolutely can. It's not very dangerous when he's your number 1 receiver and has to come up with these plays. But when you have those 2 dangerous guys out on the edge, that can get a dangerous trio. I don't know what a lot of the times the Chiefs are doing right now on offense. A lot of screen passes. I don't know. Mahomes was kind of lost today. It seemed like he kept throwing the ball backwards. Chris Collinsworth was like all over him. Like, oh, what a great play. Like, why'd you throw the ball backwards in the first place? On that play, also, Pacheco's like running parallel to the end zone, facing the wrong way. It's like, they're just pretty broken on offense right now. And they need one of those receivers to come back. Obviously, Rice is out of the first 6 games, I think. They need Worthy back desperately. They got the Ravens next week. If they don't have Xavier Worthy, I don't think there's a chance they win that game. If they have him, that just changes the whole offense. And I actually am really excited to see how that looks with Xavier Worthy in this Chiefs offense. But, I mean, they're going to need to change something. And that starts with getting their guys healthy. But a good win for them, get to 1-2. They needed this win. They absolutely needed this win. They beat up on a bad Giants team. Wasn't even the greatest performance in the whole world, but it's a win for the Chiefs. Recording this before the Monday night game, I'm really excited. Said the Lions. I thought the Lions were going to win on last week's episode. I'm excited for that game. We'll talk about it on Thursday. And we'll talk some college football before the episode wraps up. All right, going to wrap up the show with some college football roundup. And it was a great week all around. I'm not going to lie. I was at the Apple Cup. So I was watching kind of the games in the morning. I was checking up some scores. So we're going to talk about that game, and then we'll talk about some of the other big storylines from the week. But first, we'll start with that. Huskies win in pretty convincing fashion. If you look at the final score, 59-24. But this was a close game, a majority. It definitely was closer than a lot of people probably expected from majority. Obviously, they ended up winning by 35. But my main takeaway was the defense was not super encouraging at all. I guess this is a Cougar offense that put up like 13 points against North Texas, and they did switch quarterbacks. The new quarterback, Zevi, played much better than the quarterback play they'd had all season. But this Ryan Walters defense really was struggling, and they were missing Takario Davis on the opposite side of Houston's Frysock, which Leroy Bryant was kind of the one getting exposed in the majority of these cover scenarios. But the Cougars offense kind of had their way for a majority of it. What was killing them was that the turnovers and the plays like that, interceptions, the fumbles. But, I mean, they played a tough game. They came out there and fought, but I just think that, I mean, the Husky offense, we haven't punted in 17 drives, which is an insane stat. Obviously, play Colorado State, which is a solid Mountain West team. And then you play UC Davis. Then you play this game. But this offense is so dominant. This offense is going to keep you in every single type of game. I think they have the best quarterback, receiver, running back duo in the entire nation. And I think the nation's going to get woken up to that as this week comes against Ohio State. The game of your year right here. You have a chance to make a statement on national TV. Everyone's going to be watching. This is Ohio State's first test since Texas. Julian Sand's first true road game as the redshirt freshman. And you got a chance to shock these guys. We'll talk about the game a lot more on Thursday. I'm really excited for the game. But if you want to have any chance in that game, obviously, your offense is going to keep you in the game. This is the best defense you played all year. But you got to find a way to get some pass rush, dude. I don't care how good your corners are, even if Davis is back, which Jed said that he's unsure of his status for the week, which is not great because he's a guy that you're going to need to come back and play. But you got to get some pass rush. There cannot be anyone's going to be able to get open. And when you play an offense with Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, with those guys, if you give Sayin time to bleed, he's going to make stuff happen. I thought Zach Derby played a fantastic game. He had 11 total pressures on PFF, but 0 sacks. But I thought he had a great game just watching it. Ended up with 5 sacks, but a majority of these big plays the Cougars were making was because of the amount of time that Zebby had in the pocket. He's able to make stuff happen. On the run game sense, the run game defense was fantastic. They were in the ball 27 times for 28 yards. There was nothing there. Their starting running back had 5 carries for 13 yards. Backup had 9 for 11. Like they had nothing at all. So that's a positive there. But the key to the Ohio State game is the pass rush, and we'll talk more about the game later. But this is a fun game. It's a fun game to be at. Points. Damon's going to give you a chance in any situation. I don't care if it's 3rd and 25. He's going to give you a chance to convert it. The fact that they haven't punted in 17 drives is absolutely insane. Since the second half of the Colorado State game, I believe. Jonah Coleman runs for 12 and 59, but 2 touchdowns, 6 receptions for 104 yards. Denzel 6 for 107, 2 touchdowns. Like, he's insane. The second touchdown he had was unbelievable. I believe it was 3rd and goal from about the 15. They took like a negative play, and it's like, all right, let's just fade to Denzel, and he's going to catch the ball. Like, those were contested catches that he made look so easy. Like, there was not even a guy, there was no one on that Wazoo football field that was going to break that up. I don't think there's anyone arguing in the country that's going to break that up. Every time Damon gets hit, I get worried just because, I mean, he's a smaller guy. He's bulkier, but he took a few big hits, like, definitely, and he just bounces back up every time. Like, you got to give a shout out to him for that. I got to give a shout out to Alex McLaughlin. Alex McLaughlin is, I'd say, the best player on the Husky defense. And if you said that preseason, people would have been like, what? Who's that? But this guy has been one of the best players in the whole nation, quite frankly, on the defensive end. Graded out as a 90 on PFF, has that pick 6. He was another interception early in the game off a tip. The pick 6 that pretty much seals the game. It was impressive. This guy flies around, he just finds the ball. Only issue is linebacker Buddha Al-Ukta. He went out with an injury. They don't know his status for the game the next few weeks. I haven't heard anything about that. That's not going to be good, though, because they're going to have some guys to step up behind him if he is out against this, obviously, number 1 ranked Ohio State team. But fun game to be at. Cougs fought. You got to give it to them. Offense fought. They're moving the ball, just turnovers, fumbles killed these guys. So yeah, we'll talk about some of the other games around the nation. Again, didn't watch every snap of these games, but I'd say the big disappointment to me was Illinois. Illinois loses by 53 to Indiana. And this is a game where I believe I said I thought Illinois was going to win. And I think this just shows a lot of people thought Illinois was overrated or underrated. They hadn't really been talked about much. They beat Duke earlier in the year, but to go on the road and get just demolished like this, embarrassing. I don't know how you can keep this team. They're number 23. I don't know how you can say they're a top 25 team in the nation. If you go in there, they're 7-point underdogs on the road. You're ranked higher or whatever. It's AP poll rankings. But if you go in there, you lose by a touchdown or 2, it's like, all right, like, you beat an Indiana team. You lost to an Indiana team at home, whatever. Indiana's good, which I do think Indiana is good. But to get just embarrassed like that is just unacceptable. Auburn, Oklahoma, Jackson Arnold just plays all right. Doesn't really have any rushing threat. 21-32. He's not a great thrower of the football. Mateer looks all right again, but this wasn't the greatest Mateer performance in the whole world that we've seen. It wasn't the Mateer we've seen all year. 10 carries for 29 yards. Those games were going on at the same time at the game I was at, so again, didn't really see a whole lot of it. One game I did watch that I was really disappointed in, Texas Tech, Utah. I was expecting Utah to look a lot better. I was expecting Devin Dampier to maybe take a step onto that national Heisman radar, and he didn't at all. 25 of 30, 162 yards, 2 interceptions. He was bottled up, dude. This Texas Tech defense and offense, this Texas Tech team showed that by a roster, and if you can put this team together, you're going to be in a spot to win games. The backup comes in, Will Hammond, delivers 13 of 16, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that's a real impressive win for a team that has one ranked game remaining on its schedule, which is a crazy stat to say. Texas Tech, they got Houston, Kansas, Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, BYU, which is ranked 25 right now. That's their number 1 ranked game. Like, that's a team that should be in the Big 12 championship game. I don't really see any reason why they shouldn't. And on the Utah end, same situation. One ranked team remaining on the schedule, and that's BYU. I mean, I think we could be looking at them to meet up again in the Big 12 championship, but this Utah offense is the thing that I thought was explosive about this team, this run game. And they had Dampier bottled up, and they had their run game bottled up. So it's a really disappointing way to lose at home for Utah. And quite frankly, that shocked me. I thought that game would for sure be close. That game to Illinois, I thought that both those games, each team was going to give them a game. Utah being a favorite at home, at least Illinois was underdogs, but they get flatlined, embarrassed. We'll talk about Missouri. I'm going to give a little shout out to Missouri. These guys are a college football playoff contender. 4-0, 1-0 in the SEC. They beat South Carolina. Sellers played 302 yards passing, 18-28, 2 touchdowns. But this is a good Missouri team, dude. Broberville is just doing his job. Ahmad Hardy, if you can rely on Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts to run the rock for you, there's not a whole people in the nation that can stop this run game. And if Prabula can manage the game well, use his legs when he needs to, they got Alabama in 2 weeks and they got them at home. And that's something that's going to be a really, really big game. One of the biggest games for Missouri football in definitely a few years. And they're a team that I don't think I thought they were going to be an SEC player coming into the season. They definitely are. They're a team that they're going to make some noise in the SEC, and they're going to be in a spot at the end of the season if they can keep relying on their run game and playing football like this. I have to put one team in the dumps, and I have to say I was wrong again. I've said it multiple times about this team, but Clemson, these guys are bad. I don't know. This is the biggest shock of the whole year to me. Every time they win, every time they lose a game. So it was like, all right, I think they're going to beat Syracuse. I think they were 17-point favorites at home. And they come out and it doesn't even look close. Every team this game has played, they've just started off so uninspiring and slow. And you put yourselves in a hole, and it's like, what is like just embarrassing. Dabo should be absolutely embarrassed with what he's putting on the field right now. Who's 24-7. Every week in the presser, he's like, well, if they fire me, they don't like winning. Like, dude, this is I saw they had the 80% player return rate, which is the highest in college football. The talent was there to return. It's not like they were filling a bunch of holes. Adam Randall at running back, like Cade Klubnik at court. This is not a team that should be 1-3 and 0-2 in the ACC, and they are. And that's I just gotta put my hand up and say, I mean, I was wrong. I think a lot of people were wrong. This was a team that people were picking to win the national championship before the season started, and they've just came out and laid an absolute egg every single week. Even in that win against Troy, just laid an egg. It's absolutely embarrassing. Last game I'll talk about quickly is Michigan and Nebraska. Nebraska loses their 28th straight home matchup or ranked matchup, which is just bad. I saw people hating on Dylan Raiola. I thought Dylan Raiola played a decent game. I mean, he threw for 308 yards. Some of the stuff he does is annoying, but it's not like I don't think he was the reason they lost. They were 27 points at home in this game. They made it hard on Bryce Underwood too, with 12 for 22, 105 yards. But they just couldn't stop this run game. Justice Haynes, 17 carries, 149 yards, 1 touchdown. Jordan Marshall, 6 carries, 80 yards, 1 touchdown. Bryce Underwood, 8 carries, 61 yards, 1 touchdown. That's not Dylan Raiola's fault. They can't stop the run. When the team runs for 31 times for 290 yards and 3 touchdowns, you're not going to win that game a whole lot. And that's a good win for Michigan, a team that had that tough loss to Oklahoma a few weeks ago. where they didn't really let Underwood throw up the ball, but this week they didn't need to let him do that. They didn't need to. They got Wisconsin and they got at USC, and USC is proven to be a good team, underrated, kind of flying under radars, haven't played anyone too hard yet. They beat Michigan State this week, put up 45 points. Maeva looks good. They got at Illinois next week, or coming up, in a game that Illinois is down, and could be a big win for USC to get a first-ranked victory of the whole season and get Big Ten play to keep going after that win over Michigan State. But yeah, overall, it was a fun week at the Apple Cup. UW's got Ohio State this week. And yeah, man, it was a great week of football. I thought Sunday was good. The morning game started off, and I was like, man, these might be some brutal, brutal games. But it just shows up. It just delivers. Every week it does. Thank you for listening if you made it this far. You follow on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Diego Collie FB Show, and Twitter at Collie Diego, Collie Diego. Thanks for listening if you made it. If you enjoyed the show, share it with someone, give it a download. I appreciate it. Thank you.